Hi, my name is Tony Mweti, and I'm here to tell you that governments of sovereign nations can never go broke. Yes, you heard me right. Never go broke. But we know they go broke all the time. So why would I be saying this? I'd be saying this because there's a school of thought called modern monetary theory or structured money creation, and it's really been picking up the discussions, the discourse around it has really been picking up the last year and a half due to the economic challenges the pandemic has caused all around the world. Now, what MMT states is this: the government is the sole copyright owner of its own currency. It's the only entity that owns the license to that currency for whatever purposes that license will be used for. And largely here we're talking about duplication, replication, creation. It is the only entity that can do that. That means the government can technically create more money and inject it into its own budgetary cycles. But yes, you've heard about countries where in the past have brought about inflation when they did that. That is true, that money creation by a government does have its risks. But any economic model has its risks. The idea is, how do you harness the potential of that system and ward off the risks? So this is what you could possibly do in an MMT setup, in a structured money creation setup. And that's why it's called structured money creation, is because yes, you can structure how to do it. You can work on how to do it better. I'd put it to you as a question and say, would 1 million Kenya shillings cause inflation? What about 100 million Kenya shillings? Would that cause inflation? I doubt. What about 1 billion Kenya shillings? Would that cause inflation? What about 100 billion? You see, it's difficult to tell where the limit lies, but there is a limit, and inflation is the real limit, is one of the real limits, let me say it that way. But between 1 shilling and, for now, let's call it 100 billion Kenya shillings, if that was the limit, between 1 and 100 billion, therein lies opportunity. Opportunity. That's money that can be harnessed and injected into the country for various development needs. At this point in time, a corona stimulus package to businessmen across the board, to those who lost their jobs, that's opportunity right there. That is also opportunity for government in itself. There isn't a sufficient amount of taxation or taxes coming in. Taxes are dwindling. Government is trying to source money, is trying to borrow money externally from foreign sources. It's also borrowing money internally from Kenyans through bonds and bills. But why go through that process? Why borrow money as if the money Kenyans need is coming from somewhere else? The money that Kenyans need is coming from the government. The government is the creator, the initiator of the Kenya shilling, is the owner of the Kenya shilling. We don't need to borrow money from other sources. The government does not need to borrow money from other sources. The government is its own source because it's the copyright owner. And the government is not maximizing on that tool, on that opportunity that it has. And that's our argument to the Kenya government, to African governments, that done in a structured manner, the government can create new money, inject it into its own government budgetary cycles, and also use it as a stimulus package to the private sector. And by doing so, rescue the situation, and rescue the situation quickly. We have designed and have come up with concepts on how to structure that better. We have our proposal currently right now states or talks about a grading system, a point system, where all projects that the government wants to do are graded not by how much money they cost, but by will that money create inflation? And they're given an inflation rating. So 10 would be then inflationary attractive. So for example, we'll put a ceiling of 7. And all projects, if you want to build a dam, if you want to create an airport, if you want to hire new human resources and put them to work, then all that is then undergoes a scoring process, 1 up to 10, with 7 being the limit. And if any project passes 7, it's sent back to be redrafted, to be reconceptualized. With this current way of thinking, with our new way of thinking, we are saying finding money is the easiest thing. Using money becomes the difficult thing, becomes the question. Finding money becomes the easiest question to answer. Using money becomes a more difficult question to answer, because you want to use it in a manner that will not cause inflation. And remember, creating money does not automatically cause inflation. And because it does not automatically cause inflation, you have scope, you have opportunity to play around. We are willing, Clark & Hampton is the business I run, we are willing to discuss with various leaders across the board on how to come up with a pilot project surrounding this. Our email is clarkandhampton@gmail.com. We're willing to have a discussion. Please contact us. Thank you.